Hi guys, and welcome to the last part of the Skrillex snare drum tutorial, where we won't create the highs and tops of the snare because it would last forever. Instead of that, as I promised you before, I will give you the patches and this whole project, so you will be able to create your own snare drums with these patches. But before we jump into it, I would like to share with you a very interesting thing I found. So first, let's check Schism 600 Years remix. This is the song.
For 600 years.
Well, this little part will be enough for us right now, but I don't know if you recognize any sound from this, but if you don't, let me show you what I found. So this was the little part of the music. And I don't know if you remember that I have a video from 1 year ago, yeah, where I gave you a Christmas present, a Skrillex style snare drum and loops and kick drums and hi-hats and etc. But this is the drum loop. Yeah, obviously need. And I don't know if you recognize the similarity of the two snare drums which Schism used and between my snare drum. This is what Schism used and this is mine. So if you see on the waveform, you can obviously recognize the similarity. So yeah, I am famous because, you know, a major producer used my snare drum, which is happiness for me. I'm really glad he used that. So yeah, this is very interesting for me, and I think it's a cool thing when big names like Schism or, well, why not Skrillex, uses my samples. So this is the snare drum, what we are going to create in this last part. Oh, sorry. Which, as I said before, is about 4 layers: a transient layer, a top layer, and a bottom layer. This is from fm8, this bottom layer is from fm8, but this is from Virus. I prefer more the Virus one, and in this project you will get this little bounce sound from the Virus, and there is only one part of the snare drum, which is the tail. This is a 2-part sound. Both of them are from fm8, but with different settings and different filtering, you get a really rich sounding tail. This is the first part of the tail, which is a bottom and the middle frequency range sound, which is kind of noise kind of sound, but not exactly, we will see. And the top of the tail, so the bottom and the top, and all together they sound this, which is very rich, and with the snare it sounds really cool. Okay, so the last part which we have to see is the top of the snare drum, which again sounds this. This is kind of hi-hat sound. Well, probably you can use it as a hi-hat sound. And instead of recreating this hi-hat, I am showing you the fm8 patch, and of course I give you the fm8 patch. So as I said, it would last forever to recreate the whole patches because they are really complex. So the hi-hat sound consists of 3 operators or 3 oscillators. The first one the first one is a sine wave with 5 ratio. The second one, the E1, is a square wave with very big ratio, the 64, the highest ratio it can have. The third one with 2 ratio, a triangle, and sorry, the second one was a square wave, and both of them have envelopes with short release and short decays. And of course it needs a filter, which filter is a high pass filter. These are the settings, you may copy them. So you can easily shape the sound with Z operators cutoff, which is a very important thing when you want to create hi-hats. And well, basically this was the whole patch itself, and the very important part of this patch is the outer effects like frequency shifter. Without the shifter it sounds this. It gives a lot more metallic sound, and after it I added an auto filter, a high pass filter, which you may hear that filters the lower and middle frequencies. And I also added an EQ, which is necessary at almost all hi-hat sounds. So this was the top. I hope you aren't disappointed, because we are not recreating right now these sounds, but it would last forever, as I said. And while I give you this patch, you can recreate with your own hi-hats and your own sounds this snare drum. So let's step further and check the snare tail, which is again an fm8 patch. It is not again that complex, but with different settings you can see that it gives a lot more high sound with a lot more noisy sound, which is necessary again. So the first operator is with a really high ratio, 37 ratio, which is a sine wave. And the second one is a 1 + 3 + 5 square with 64 ratio and a saturator and again a filter. Which is really important when you want to create hi-hat sound is the self-oscillator or feedback. Please search after what feedbacks do, but you may know that these feedbacks are following the analog kind of synthesizers. When you feedback an oscillator to itself, it starts to oscillate themselves and create very high frequencies, which is again a really useful thing when you want to create hi-hat sounds. Okay, the envelopes again is an important thing, and as I think I forgot to mention before that I used in every patch a pitch envelope, which is again important when you want to create a little transient on the hi-hat sounds. Let me show you that yes, I want to check myself too if I use the pitch one. Yes, I use a pitch envelope here too, like I used in the tails. And on the FX chain, I again used a filter, a low-pass filter with high resonance, yes. Well, this filter was unnecessary, so I disabled it and now I delete it. I use a saturator again, which gives the metallic sound, which gives a little, a little metallic sound at the end. It's very soft if you disable the saturator. It is a lot harder now, which is again very useful and very cool sound. And of course an EQ at the end, and a little frequency shifter, which is, I think, will be unnecessary for this sound. Yeah. Okay, so and this was the first layer of the snare tail, and this is the second layer of the snare tail. which is a little different. Let's see the fm8 patch. Okay, it looks a little hectic, but don't be afraid, because E and yes, I think, okay, A is disabled, so we can delete it. We can delete this one, this, so it is a lot more clear now. So I used only C and B. Oh, sorry. The B one is a second format with 21.1 ratio, a little envelope on it with, as always, a little very short decay and null sustain. The C one is 18.6 ratio, which is a sine wave, and again a very short decay envelope. And these sounds are going into X, which gives a noise oscillator, and a saturator, of course. X is going into Z, which is a filter, and again with a short filter envelope. You can again shape the sound with this filter as you want. Again, I use a pitch envelope for little short decay. And the FX chain is an additional HP filter, and well, you can use this LP filter if you want, but I found a little too harsh without the LP. But this EQ is again necessary to boost the middle high frequencies. So you can play around with the settings, with the EQs and the fm8 patches. So one to remember, if you want to create hi-hat sounds, you should use a lot of feedbacks like here and here, and you should use a lot of high ratio modulators or operators. If you are talking about frequency modulation, there are really high frequency, really high ratio operators here, right? 64, 38, etc., etc., and always use saturator, which is a good stuff for creating metallic sounds, and of course filters to filter the low and middle frequencies. And if you want, you can use, of course, where is it? Frequency shifters, which again gives the metallic sound if you push down the frequency. Is a really cool stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this little go through on the patches. As you may know, this is a fully synthesized snare drum, which is, I think, is really cool, because I didn't use any recorded, any bounced or any other kind of stuff. And if you want, you can download the whole project and the fm8 patches from the descriptions below. Okay guys, this was it right now, and be good and have a great Christmas time, and we'll see you next time.